Because consent matters, we just want to let you know that this podcast contains topics that may be triggering to some listeners. For a specific detailing of trigger warnings, please pause the episode and see our show notes. This podcast isn't for everyone, so it's probably for you. Hi, I'm Leandra.
And I'm Anastasia. And this is a show about two best friends and our journey through cult recovery.
Join us as we gain perspective, discover our values, tell some stories, and deconstruct the fucked up belief system from whence we came.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Jesus. We are happy to disappoint. Ooh.
And here we are.
We have arrived. Welcome, disappointments, to the Roast of Uncle Icky 360.
What an intro. It's true, though.
Here we will give you the tea.
All right. Yeah, take us there. All right. 2018 is when a couple of things that were big happened. One was Shalom's letters came out, and that is what effectively
at the end of October.
At the end of October in 2018, and that effectively ended the church and the fellowship at large.
Or began the end.
Began the end, exactly, because it was over 2 weeks after that. But these letters that we're going to read are from you, and now you can describe that. I just wanted to kind of give context of where we're at in the timeline.
Very important. I love that. No, thank you. I'm about to cough. Like I hit record and my mouth was like, we're dry now. We're so dry now. And I was like, okay, so basically what we will be going through here today is my employee review of Uncle Icky. And this was towards the end of 2018. It was actually, I can give you the date.
Yeah. When did they start asking for the 360 reviews? Which is what they called them.
I think I filled mine out like the day before they were due. And they asked them of me the last week of September in 2018. And I filled mine out on October, it was like 2 a.m. on October 1st, 2018, when I finished writing this stuff. And this was just Uncle Icky. This was because once his took me a full 24 hours to get this out and to like think about how I wanted to like word it or like even let it come out, because like you'll see as I go through these.
One quick question before we continue. What was the premise of these? Why were they asking for these?
That's a great piece of context that I should provide before I launch into the spiel.
I was like,
if you've been listening, you know I launch. And I don't mean to, but it happens. So the context of these reviews were wow, okay, here we go. We were asked to review our employers and other like who are direct reports from within the organization because there had been letters being written and emails, I think, being written, and like people were calling and people were like kind of starting to like talk a little bit more openly about some things. And I wasn't quite like, okay, we're just going to go. We're getting transported. We're in 2018. I am launching, everybody. We are together.
Okay, great.
We're
in 2018. Marilyn's dead.
Marilyn has been dead for like two and a half years.
Marilyn died in 2015. and and Gary had brought a lot of words after that, being like, I don't really want to do this anymore. So there was already
should
like,
I even carry the anointing do I even have the anointing anymore? And like part of me kind of respected that as someone who like I was in the Bible gang. Like I was in the Bible gang, but also comma gang. Like but like I was like, "Oh, that's a very like as someone who's like a quote unquote prophet, biblically, like checking thyself and being like, should I even do this anymore?
yeah.
That's a great place to start. Like, I think that
Wish
I
you'd
was
been
like,
doing
oh,
that, but yeah.
and like what I didn't understand, which was, I think part of the optics of it all, was that of course he was being forced into saying these kinds of things by people's like the organization was starting to fall apart. Like we used the metaphor of the spaceship in the last episode, like JRS, the cult leader, John Robert Stevens, built the spaceship, the metaphorical spaceship, and then didn't quite tell everybody how it worked and only piecemeal gave out instructions to different people on like what was where and what did what and who was who kind of thing. And like, so
Gary's like, do I even want to do this? We're like, okay, respect, because
people
I
start
would
sending
want to.
letters to Gary and being like, yo, this shit's fucked up. And Gary goes, okay, everyone, we want everyone to send in letters. We are putting a letter box in every church and we're totally listening to you. We want to hear what you have to say. And it's like, what better way to stop the information from going any further than you than invite the information to be sent directly to you? And like, just like,
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then a lot of people are like, that's not enough. Like people were like, no, we don't want just that. There's more going on. And so then he's like, okay, we're going to set Uncle Icky out of the church. Uncle Icky and his wife are no longer pastors. They are
and
out.
That was when?
And that's like, that was like August, September of 2018.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
okay.
And
just
like,
keeping a timeline for myself.
Yeah. No, keep asking because I won't tell you unless you ask.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, and like, again, there are some details that are a little fuzzy, but also like, I wrote all this stuff down and I have photographs and I have screenshots and I have letters and I have emails. Like, I know what happened.
Yeah, you have receipts.
We know what happened for the most part. And like, yeah, and everything was they were working me so hard. I was working like literally 100 hours a week. Like I was like, I had never even worked this hard in post-production. Like, and that was like,
I know.
Not even in my post-production days where they demand your firstborn child and then some, did I work so hard. Because it wasn't just my job duties that I was doing. It was, okay, now do this thing for the service and now gather all these volunteers and like have them doing this and supervise them on volunteer nights. Oh God, it was the most anxiety
Oh, that was so hard to watch.
They made me,
just because you would be begging people, and like the only 5 people who would ever show up, because usually everyone who you were asking was already showing up for something else.
And it was like, this is the part that bothered me, is like, I was like, you're asking people to give their actual fucking whole days and time to just sit here and do my job or your job or someone else's job or a job that you're not paying someone to do.
Yeah.
And like, maybe I'll cut this, but honestly, like, shout out all the volunteers who ever said yes to me. Like, even if you're still a loyalist, even if you still believe that JRS and Gary are the tits, like, I'm sorry that I don't believe that anymore, but I still love you guys and thank you.
Yeah.
Like, you you helped me out in times where I was going to get punished if you didn't show up. So thank you for showing up. I was going to get yelled at or shit on or told I couldn't do something if you didn't show up, or told how bad I was, told how much initiative I wasn't showing if you didn't show up. And I think that's crazy that they put that pressure on both you and me as an intermediary and person. They like kept telling that you have no responsibility. And then it's like, actually, you don't take enough initiative.
No, you never win.
Yeah, and so I was going to the restaurant store a lot, Restaurant Depot over in the Valley.
I hated doing that with you. I only loved it because I did it with you, and we would get breakfast burritos, and it was amazing. But lugging all that shit around
so much work.
and shoving it in your car, and then unloading all of that shit multiple times a day sometimes, because one load wouldn't be enough for a crazy fucking work weekend we decided to have.
And then my car fell apart like 2 years. My brand new fucking Subaru fell apart like 2 years after the cult died, because it was like, oh yeah, like all these axle joints and all this shit are broken from like clearly too much weight on shitty pothole roads, like 5 miles back and forth over and over and over and over, like sometimes 4 times a day, because oh man, because Uncle Icky always wanted something, and then now he's not allowed to be here, but he's still showing up, and he's still in these meetings, and then now he's at home, and like, oh, but he still has a say, and Leandra has to go to the store again. Anyway, like, if it sounds crazy, it's because I was crazy at that time. Like, I was losing my goddamn mind. And I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. And I know I've said this on other podcasts, but I was literally sick a grand total of 9 times in 2018, because my immune system and stress response, like I got told by like a quack chiropractor and like several doctors that like, oh, your cortisol levels are like oddly high for someone of your age and like whatever, and like, oh, you seem to be really, really stressed out, like it's so much stress, and I am there with my throat full of canker sores and my back going out every fucking day, and like I had a fever like fucking twice a month, like I was so sick, and I was still working and I was still doing all this stuff, and like
because you never healed from the first time you were sick.
Yeah, I never ever got through it. And also, like, okay, I will take some responsibility here. I was drinking a lot. I was drinking, and so was fucking everybody else. But like, I was hella drinking and not understanding why I needed to every night, or that I needed to every night. I just knew this is what I do. You know, this is what I do every night, is I just go home and I drink, or I leave home and I drink. And like, I was doing that. And then I would like sleep in my car and like drive home in the morning. And like, it was crazy. And I just keep I gotta think of a better transition.
Me too.
It's fine. It's probably not going to change. And
we're from the Valley. I don't know what to fucking tell you. I don't know what to fucking tell you.
Valley. What do you want from us? Like, the vocal fry will be there.
Valley girls. Like, we're doing our fucking best. You can't take the
Valley out of the fucking girl, unfortunately.
We're doing our fucking best. But I do listen back and I'm like, okay. I do that a lot. And then I say dude all the time.
And like, dude, for our audience, dude gender neutrally every time. Gender neutrally every time.
Because again, from California. Man also doesn't have a gender.
Yeah, which is hysterical.
Listen, man.
But it's
oh man.
Like, oh man. Oh no. Oh man, that sucks.
Oh man, like, dude. Oh no, man, dude.
Is it like, are we referring to like the man? Is it like, oh, the man, but it's like apostrophe M, like, oh man, but like it's that man, it's the man.
Yeah, I like that better.
Anyway, we are fully digressing. Back on track. Very sick, very drunk, very sad, very stressed. 2018 Leandra. And then I hear, so like, Uncle Icky had been kicked out multiple times. Like, in my lifetime, it was thrice, I think.
3 times.
Yeah,
in
3
our
times in
lifetime.
my lifetime.
We have been around for multiple transitions.
Yeah, multiple wife
Multiple times that
transitions.
he has been kicked out, that Uncle Icky has been clicked out.
Uncle Icky has been clicked out. So like I never thought in a million fucking years that it would be permanent, that he wouldn't come back, and that life wouldn't continue as usual. But I was like, no cap, ready to die. So I was like, I don't know how
and
this
your
can
body
keep going.
was too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, mind and body were just like giving out. Like, I was like,
Fuck it.
like my organs were screaming. It was a whole thing. My poor body. I appreciate it now. I'm like, thank you for getting me through all that. I'm sorry for all the hell I put you through.
I feel the same way about my body.
Okay, so all of this is going. I had no fucking idea that Uncle Icky wouldn't come back. Like, that never crossed my mind, because there's no way it was going to be permanent this time. But at the same time, I was starting to have conversations with people that I had never had before.
People were talking.
More and more people were
time.
still talking. And like those letters, the demand for the letters kind of got people like thinking in that direction. And like, oh yeah, one time this happened to me. And everyone would be like, excuse me, what the fuck?
Yep.
And this was the beginning. Like, this was early times.
This was before
and like,
Shalom's letters. This was before. Yeah. This was basically from when Marilyn died. I feel like is really when all of this happened, because it took a couple of years for people to actually be speaking about it to each other, because they had already been, like you said, already been thinking and already been writing the letters. And then at some point they were kind of like, so this and this, because exactly like you said, it was in the forefront of their brain now. They weren't repressing it because they were asked.
And like, we are coming up on the 7-year anniversary in a few months of Shalom's letters, of these reviews that we're going to read. And like, I'm still coming to terms with and remembering new things like every day. So like, there's no way. I don't know. I don't want anybody, including all of us, to kind of anybody, including all of us, to feel bad about how long it takes to acknowledge some of this stuff, and to acknowledge what the environment was, and to acknowledge the things that happened within that environment, and the kind of people that were both running it and managing it and drawn to it. And like, it wasn't everybody. There was, again, you can't keep something that big running without real love, real connection, real community, real families, real time,
real people,
real blood, sweat, fucking tears.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that unless you've got the real deal kind of going. And what was real about it was how wonderful everyone was to each other when they were wonderful to each other.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So and then everything else. So
people were talking.
People were talking, and we are now talking, even like, that's what I mean. I'm like almost 7 years later, and we're like just still starting to talk about what happened.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I get this. Like, I don't remember if I heard it from the pulpit first, or if I was told and like given these documents by my bosses. I do not, for the life of me, remember what order it happened in. But like, at some point, old Gary is like, we are gonna have, your letters have been heard. We're going to have an outside company that conducts reviews, do like they do it for businesses. They're gonna do it for us. And everyone was like, are you for real?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
no one really believed it, I don't think.
I definitely did not. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm gonna like actually be given that those documents. I'm like, yeah, of course I'll fill those out. But then I did, and then I was like, oh my God, my life changed. But yeah, so like nobody thought it was gonna happen. And then I don't know who the company was because I know I turned mine in to a pastor in Colorado who was kind of managing them. And then like that person was like, hey, good
Why
job. You were really
Colorado?
brave. I think that person was just managing it. I think they were the one who
Oh,
like
okay.
was designated of, because it was the whole system. It was every
I know.
employee. It was across the board. And like every employee filled out one of these, which
Yeah.
is insane to me because what I was trying to say earlier was like never once had they fucking asked us what we thought. Like
Yeah.
not even a titter. Like it was like, okay, I'll actually read you a quote that tells you how not that way it was. Uncle Icky looks at someone I know while one of the teachers at Centers of Learning was getting kicked out. And I think it was because that person dissented. I think they were like, I'm not okay with some things that are going on, or maybe they were just like, I want a raise, or maybe I want more for myself, or maybe like I just any
Could be anything.
questions. Yeah, it could have been anything. And you will see shortly that is the case.
Okay.
And Uncle Icky says to someone I know, this person knows why the teacher got fired, right? The real reason this teacher got fired. And then the person I know goes, because they didn't agree with you, Uncle Icky? And Uncle Icky goes, see? This person gets it. This person knows how it works. And there was a group of people in that space, and he was making a point to them. And that teacher was the example. And so he was using the example of the real reason a teacher got fired was because they didn't agree with him. So again, there's no way, me knowing that at that time, like I knew that story then.
Yeah.
And I knew that's how it worked because I was an employee and everything they told me was, well, so-and-so this. Well, if Uncle Icky doesn't want it that way, then don't do it that way. Or if Uncle Icky wants it that way, then, and he said so, that's what we fucking start doing. Now.
Then it better be that way.
Immediately. Protocol. Write it down and tell all your fucking volunteers.
Yeah.
Now, I actually get the documents from my bosses and they're like, fill this out. And it asks me these questions. And like, because I don't have I saved my answers. I don't have all the questions, but you will understand in the context of the answers.
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. And again, like you will be hearing my indoctrination. Like I was trying so hard to be like, if this goes, like, what can I say? Like Mike said it in our last episode of like, if I say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, it's over.
Yeah.
And like, so I was like, what do I say to not make it over for myself? But I also, so you'll hear that indoctrination and like me knowing how things worked, heavy air quotes. But I was finally I was starting to get fed up. And this was written before Shalom's letters. Written and submitted before Shalom's letters. So yeah, perspective of someone who thought they'd be stuck in it for the literal ever. I'm looking at my notes and just one of the things we had written down is that Uncle Icky has lock me up judge eyes. And
can confirm.
Like, anyway, he has lock me up judge eyes and yeah. So here we go. The first question came up and I think it was like, who's in charge here or something to that effect.
Okay.
I said, Uncle Icky always had, quote, the vision. And he is always the one to lead it. My first thought when I heard that Uncle Icky was taking a leave of administrative absence was, But who is going to carry the vision? Who even has the vision? At first, this was an endearing thought. He is the one we follow. Then I realized more and more how upsetting that thought is. The answer is that the people have the vision, and the people are supposed to carry it, but we've never been allowed to. And like,
wow.
Okay, anti-gaslighting for 2018 and also every other day, Leandra, like the existences that I have lived thinking I was fucking insane for feeling unsafe around Uncle Icky or unsafe around one of his chosen people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And then turning out, like, again, we were right, guys. Everyone who thought this, we were right. We were right the whole time. So, yeah, continuing. It's the people are supposed to carry the vision, but we've never been allowed to. When Uncle Icky has a vision, every so often there will be some sort of brief teaching or exposition regarding that vision, but it is, all caps, very rarely expressed to a group larger than 20 people, let alone the entire congregation. It's usually just repeating something that John or Marilyn used to say, but there's rarely a teaching that plants the, quote, vision in the hearts of the people and creates an atmosphere for it to grow. The vision remains with Uncle Icky. The people just get to hear about it a little bit sometimes, if we're lucky. And I'm describing a cult structure, not knowing what a cult structure was. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Okay.
It's so crazy to hear this because, I mean, I've heard some of it before, but like, it's always insane to just remember how brainwashed we were.
Fully. Like the whole way. We were brainwashed from birth.
Yeah.
How fun is that, guys?
So fun. Sorry, you can continue, but it's
it's good.
It's wild to hear you in that voice again, because that Leandra doesn't exist anymore. So it's crazy to hear that.
You heard her a lot, and I'm sorry for that. Genuinely, like, a lot of people heard her.
To see you at all.
That's true. A lot of people heard me, this version of me, and they were like, is that bitch okay? Like, she seems really happy-go-lucky and, like, really enthusiastic, but, like, something's going on there. And it's like, yeah.
All right, maybe.
It was a cult, guys. It was a cult. I had cult eyes, and I knew it, but I didn't know it. I just knew that everyone looked at me and was like, is this bitch okay? And I'd be like, why does everyone ask me that? Okay, so sometimes if we were lucky, we'd get to hear about it.
Okay,
the visions always became part of a project. However, it feels like there is a, quote, bigger vision that all of these projects are supposed to be leading up to, but we never get there. We build facilities, we create events, we put on shows, and there are always things to do. In fact, there's so much to do, it wears people out. It is clear that people generally feel like they're contributing toward the greater future of the church and fellowship. The enthusiasm is generated, the project moves forward, no matter how many people are worn out and brought to breaking point in the process.
Fucking wow.
I didn't know what a cult was, guys. I didn't even know. Like, I was like, yeah, cult, like murder, suicide. Yeah, cult, like that song,
matching
like
shoes,
personality. And like, I was like, yeah, that's it. And then Gary would be like, we're not a cult of personality. We're not a cult of personality. And he would say that all the time. And it's like, no, you're a worse
now
kind of cult. Now
go listen to the Hidden Treasures.
Mom and I
want you to go listen to the Hidden Treasures.
Really immerse yourself in John's word. That's what I'm doing. That's what Mom's doing. What do you think we're doing all those times we don't see you? And I was like, okay. And then I did. And I turned out crazy. Until I wasn't, until I started to like do things for myself. And like, I think I talked about it in the first episode of like finding that wiggle room for myself, of like my own brain started to exist. Like my own brain was a parasite in the cult brain that I had to like, I was like, oh God, I have to deal with this thing.
You have to rid yourself of those awful thoughts.
And like, I know people, including myself, who would actually hit themselves in the head when they had bad thoughts.
I know, I've seen it. Or what was considered bad.
Like, how? It makes me so angry. Oh, okay, we got to keep going. Time matters sometimes, but also definitely doesn't. But it does, but it doesn't. So projects are often left uncompleted for long periods of time because there's some other new project that's supposed to be, all caps, more important to the big picture. Unfortunately, after things being picked up and put down so many times with so little explanation, it feels like everyone is excluded from the quote big picture, and they're only allowed to contribute to the vision if they comply to participate in the project of the hour.
Wow.
And we didn't know I was autistic either.
Didn't know we were in a cult. Didn't know she was autistic.
Just in the dark. Kind of right. Really right. The whole, like, I was right. We were right.
The whole time. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Participate in the project of the hour. We've been told for years that Centers of Learning School is one of the most important aspects of our fellowship and ministry here in Los Angeles. However, the most work that's been put into the school facility itself in the last 10 years has been building a barn for a horse that nobody wanted.
Say that.
No one asked the people if we should get a horse. Uncle Icky's daughter asked for a horse, so the Church of the Living Word and Centers of Learning property was burdened with a horse and a menagerie of other animals that we literally still can't get enough people to volunteer to take care of. Fast forward,
you did it.
So I did it. When I'm talking about shoveling shit, I'm not kidding. I literally shoveled shit.
And an emu and chickens and llamas and goats.
And I was not the only one who did it, but like we had a rotation of people, but like you were always doing it alone. You were always shoveling the shit alone. And one time, a little insight into the cult mind of Leandra. I'm shoveling this shit and I'm like fully going for it. And I'm like, I smell ammonia. I smell shit. I smell all these things. I'm like gagging as I like muck out this horse's stable and like pen and like where they like ran. And like, I was like, you know what? This is a really good exercise for my spirit. It's really humbling me right now. And I am at the bottom and I get to work my way up, and it's a privilege to be asked to do these things. And so I'm participating in a ministry. I got taken out of my thing that I love, but I get to shovel shit, and what a privilege. It's really humbling me.
So mad.
Like that was inside my head 100% of the time. When I was the one being like, it must be me. I'm wrong. I suck. I am the shit. So me shoveling the shit is totally normal. I suck. Like, duh.
Fuck. God,
I laugh because it's painful.
I know, but like, as my best friend, they did that too.
Oh yeah. I was like, it's just
depending on the day, depending on the story, like I find myself having wildly different reactions. And sometimes rage wins a lot, but sometimes
rage wins a lot. Just gotta cackle and weep through the rage. Oh.
It wasn't the horse's fault. It wasn't the horse's fault.
I still have a scar
Uncle Icky.
where that horse bit me.
I didn't remember that.
It wasn't the horse's fault, though. Like, honestly, those animals were really nice most of the time, except the emu, who was evil. Because it shouldn't have been in a fucking dark cell in Los Angeles. Like,
for sure.
I mean, it wasn't a dark cell, but it kind of was. It was an actual fucking barn. It was like a whole ass little fucking barn. Anyway, barn.
Barn.
Barn. Property, Center, Living Word property, Church of the Living Word and Centers of Learning property was burdened with a horse and a menagerie of other animals that we literally still can't get enough people to take care of. Fast forward a few years, we acquire a property behind the school next to the barn. As a congregant and employee, I think it is a great victory and opportunity to finally do something to grow the school. At this point, the school still has no new buildings, secondhand computers, and a phone system that needs upgrading, to name a few things. And what do? We clear that property and are basically forced to expand the barn. Why? Because Uncle Icky is the man with the vision. Others may have a vision, but it never feels as important as Uncle Icky's.
Wow. Scathing review.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Like -5-star review for Uncle Icky. And it gets way worse. Let's go.
Great. Let's go.
In terms of showing, and here's where you'll hear me kind of repeating the question. In terms of showing others how their long-term interests can be realized by enlisting in a common vision, this happens a lot. However, the way in which it happens is exclusive and borderline demeaning. There is a lot of dangling an unreachable carrot on a stick in front of you. People are always encouraged to volunteer and show up and, quote, bring their talents. But much talent is wasted, even suppressed. Uncle Icky will draw someone in and allow them a measure of freedom, but they're never allowed to fully express themselves because it has to fit into his vision. If they're not doing it his way, it's not the right way. That's not to say that a lot of, quote, his way isn't the right way. Many times it is. But the way it's expressed is that Uncle Icky knows everything, and you'll never know as much as he does about any subject. Even if you're a working professional in your field, Uncle Icky still knows best.
Oh my God.
And the best way to express your gift is Uncle Icky's way. This leads to constant frustration, a serious imbalance, and perpetuated immaturity in people's attempted expressions of their gifts. The common vision that people are wooed into enlisting in is Uncle Icky's. I almost said his name. At that point, no one else's opinion matters, and you get a flock that is emotionally dependent on one man.
But I'm not in a cult.
But I'm not in a cult. We weren't in a cult. Not even a little bit. Okay, question 2.
Wait, can we pause and say every single thing that you said in that is almost exactly what we talked to Mike about last week?
Yes.
Like, insane. But said in I don't know that I am still in a cult manner.
I was just saying what I saw. I was just reporting what I had experienced and observed. Like, see something, say something. And if you're autistic and acknowledge patterns, write an insane essay about your abuser.
Dude. Drag him. I love it. I love it.
For your employers, because they told you to and invited you to and said you had to turn it in on October 1st. So I did. Okay.
Wow, October 1st. That's crazy. I forget you said that, I think, but I forget.
Okay. Trying to think of a name for somebody right now that I have not changed in my notes. And it might be beep beep boop. I don't know, because
beep,
that
beep,
sounds
beep,
exact. Beep. Big beep.
Oh, beep beep boop. I thought you meant beep beep boop.
Not beep 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 boop. Beep beep boop.
Heard. Okay. All right, those are the names now. Great.
Oh. Beep beep boop. Big beep.
Oh. I love that.
Okay, toot toot, everybody. Here we go. Question
Okay.
2. The only times I've ever seen Uncle Icky factor someone else's opinion or counsel into a decision,
Love where this is going.
which is what this question was clearly, is when either his daughter wanted something or when Beep Beep Boop would adamantly express a strong concern. And even then, sometimes Beep's advice would be disregarded. I have repeatedly watched Uncle Icky dismiss the contribution of others in a pejorative manner, especially his fourth wife. Especially his fourth wife's opinions or decisions. It deeply upsets me to watch how he would dismiss and demean her. I can't speak for how they relate alone, but in groups, even small ones, she'd come up with an idea and he'd literally tell her to be quiet or roll his eyes and tell her she was wrong, or say she didn't know what she was talking about, or sometimes ignore her altogether and change the subject, full stop. Like, I know a lot of people have beef with people, but like, I'm personally like, I get what happened to her. I feel terrible for her. And also like,
His fourth wife.
I felt terrible for his fourth wife because also she was someone I looked up to within the cult. I was like, that's someone I see myself in that person, and I didn't understand what that meant. What I saw was someone who was funny and excited and interested and curious and like very intelligent, but also very clumsy and silly like me. And I felt like I had a kindred spirit there.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, so like there is that comes up later in these reviews. So like that is context.
Okay, great.
I hated how he treated her, though. I fucking hated it. It made me so uncomfortable. But then I was like also used to it because I'm like, that's how he treats everybody, and that's how my dad treats me.
Yeah.
He'd literally tell her to be quiet or roll his eyes and tell her she was wrong or say she didn't know what she was talking about or sometimes ignore her altogether and change the subject. Whether or not she was right or wrong or out of control or had a good spirit or bad spirit, it didn't matter. As someone who loves them both deeply, it was genuinely horrifying to watch someone who I was raised to believe is the apex of what a man of God should look like treat his assistant, then girlfriend, then spouse in this manner. It was a testament.
Oh! Get him!
It was a testament to me that although Uncle Icky has no lack of love in his heart for people, his ability to regard, respect, or even hear input from a source outside himself appears non-existent.
Wow.
In regards to acting after making a decision, there is, all caps, no lack of action. And there are no lack of decisions. However, and another thing. However, whether those decisions are correct or relevant or contributing to the vision of this church, it is genuinely hard to say. There is little to no communication with the employees, let alone the congregation, before or after a decision is made. You just walk into TLW one day and there's a giant hole in the wall and it's under construction because a bathroom remodel is the most pressing thing that Uncle Icky decided needed to be fixed at TLW.
That was fucking ridiculous.
All the other shit that he could have done. Anything else to spend that money on, but like, oh, we gotta make a poop palace for Uncle Icky. We gotta upgrade his poop palace now that he has to spend time here because he's in trouble again because his mommy's dead. Not to shit on dead moms, but like this particular dead mom, yes, I will shit on her.
Jesus.
Or you walk into the church one morning and you find out Gary is in town and special pastoral meetings that are going to define the future of our church are starting in 20 minutes. And this is the first time you're hearing about it. And then you never hear about it again. You just get sucked into or excluded from the projects that pop up every few months. But their relevance is unknown to you because you're just an employee or a sheep, and you'll never know what happened in those meetings. Because your opinion doesn't count. It feels like... yeah. Big sigh. It feels like Uncle Icky disappears for months, not to be heard from or seen, just a WhatsApp message here and there about blessing the service. And then one day, all caps, boom, he's back. And some random project that feels like it was pulled from a hat is in motion and halfway to China.
Wow. Well put.
Either you get sucked in to help with it and made to feel like it's a privilege that you even get to be there, because maybe it means you're on Uncle Icky's good list now, and it takes up a significant portion of your time and energy. Or, all caps, you're excluded and no one tells you what's going on, and you just get to feel like an unwelcome guest in your own home, and I mean that literally, having lived on a church property.
Oh my God, Leandra, this is insane.
I was a little bit right. And it feels crazy to not be crazy.
The whole thing is correct. Spot fucking on. And you're just like, I'm just over here witnessing.
Witness! Question 3.
Yes.
As of this moment, I do not trust Uncle Icky. Period. I do not trust him with information about my life, with my aspirations, with my opinions, with anything that a sheep or an employee or a friend or a pupil should be able to trust their shepherd, employer, friend, or mentor with. I have personally witnessed and been deeply hurt by his manipulation of circumstances and lack of straightforwardness. Perhaps it wasn't flat out lying, but it was deceitful and divisive.
That's insane.
This gets crazy.
Wait, so do you know what the question was? Of just like, I
think it was like, would you trust him to keep pastoring? Would you trust him to return from his leave of absence? And I'm like, hell no.
Holy
I was
shit.
Shaking and weeping. And again, I'm reading this all to you now at lightning speed as fast as I can read, but it took me so long to write all of this.
Yeah.
It took me so much time. But again, like, I'll also say, like, I told the truth and nothing but the truth, because I thought if I didn't, I'd get swallowed into the earth and die.
God, and if you didn't, you probably would have.
If I didn't tell the truth, I would have died. Yeah. I'm laughing, but that's a true statement, and it is intense and sad. But, like, I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad I'm doing this, and I'm glad we're together, and I'm glad we're saying this on the record, because, like, fuck these people. Fuck Uncle Icky. I literally just said what I saw, and I was seeing it, and we were seeing it, and people were seeing it and saying it, and, like, if you want to deny it was a cult, fill in the blank, because I can't think of a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
God, but I really want to get creative with how mean I feel. And I'm not going to. And it'll be fine. And we're just going to keep moving on with this.
Well, we're going to get creative with it later and put it somewhere else. It's okay.
That's correct. Yeah, we'll turn it into music or a piece of art or something funny for you all to consume, because that is the only thing I can do with all of these fucking feelings. Okay. I don't trust Uncle Icky is where we were at. Perhaps he wasn't flat out lying, but it was deceitful and divisive. Uncle Icky never allows himself to be portrayed as the bad guy. He never wants to look like the one bringing the hammer down or administering correction, but he initiates it and uses others to express his opinions for him. That's flying monkeys, everybody. If you didn't know, like I didn't know, but had experienced and witnessed this thing, that's what we mean when we're talking about flying monkeys.
Yep. Executioners.
Yeah, the executioners. Fucking. And not like the fun Mel Brooks kind.
Oh, it's my favorite kind.
Everyone is equal in my eye.
My eye.
So, okay. He uses, never wants to be the one look like the one bringing down the hammer or administering correction, but he initiates it and uses others to express his opinions for him. The problem with this is that the people he uses to do his, quote, dirty work trust him so much that they relay his opinions as though they were their own. I've had pastors, friends, and family members convey their feelings or opinions to me about a specific situation, and I've felt encouraged to change and grow. And the next day, their tune has completely changed, and I am being reprimanded in a way that seems far more punitive than constructive. Like, I'm like, I'll take constructive beatings, but like when it's punitive, like
God.
As though there's no real idea of what to do about a situation and no way to help me grow out of something. Just downright disappointment or fury. So here we are, guys. We're happy to fucking disappoint you absolute bastards.
I didn't know that was in there. That's amazing.
Yeah, like, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Like Mike said, we're not liars.
Not liars.
Okay, yeah, just downright disappointment or fury that something was said or done. This behavior has been deeply confusing and has caused me to harbor mistrust for all parties involved.
Wow.
One day, my pastor or parent is telling me one thing, and the next day, it's something all caps completely different with all caps 0 explanation of what has changed. Just a warning that I'm on thin ice and going to derail my destiny. Ew, I hate that one. I hate that so much.
It's how we talked.
I know, but that's all. And like, that was a threat that fucking worked on me. I was like, derail my destiny. Oh, no. I've also had my parents and pastors in agreement one day and on totally different sides the next day, again with 0 explanation. Over years and years, I have had every single one of these circumstances traced back to Uncle Icky. Uncle Icky heard about what was going on and had something to say about it, but he'd never say it himself. Even in deep, personal conversations with both Uncle Icky and his 4th wife, I would ask a question and he would make her answer.
Fuck.
I feel like my whole life, Uncle Icky has held my dreams, destiny, and aspirations in his hands, has expected great things from me, has told me that I'm going to do great things, but has never provided me the tools or guidance to achieve them. What is expected of me, both as a person and an employee, has never been made clear to me. So if anyone wants to know anything about me and who I am and why I am the way I am, here's a little context.
Has never been made clear to me.
Like even a little bit.
What do you want from me?
It's never been made clear to me. I just get punished and disciplined whenever I'm, quote, off the course. This is very frustrating and demeaning because honestly, how is someone supposed to know when they're off course if they're not even allowed to know the course? There have been multiple occasions when I've been removed from a ministry or role, but never officially told that I'd been kicked out. I just keep showing up and being ignored. I might cry a little bit here because, like, this was so weird and hard, and, like, I've been laughing through most of this.
Like,
my manic energy is, like, running out. I'm, like, getting sad. It's okay. Can keep going. A sip of tea will help us deliver the tea.
Love. God damn.
Yeah.
It's also really kind of interesting to hear about this part of your life. You didn't because you never talked to me about this. You were never allowed to talk about your feelings like this. I never heard this then.
I didn't know these feelings were allowed to exist in me at all. These were the things that I just been like shoving it down, keep it hold, brothers, like for decades.
Yeah.
Like every time, like I will, like, I don't want to speak for other people, but like, again, I keep thinking about the hitting on the head. Every time we had bad thoughts about specifically Uncle Icky, it was like, no, hit your head, stop. I must be so evil if I'm perceiving the man of God like this. I'm like, I love that Mike said, apparently you can get away with supremely evil shit if I'm allowed to drop this drum kit.
Dude, that
and I was like,
story was amazing.
I love that, like, in his mind, that was supremely evil shit.
Yeah.
Because it was. It was. Like he said,
was.
It was over if anyone found out. And okay, so Uncle Icky having access to all the information is huge here. His underlings, Beep Beep Boop and Beep 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 Boop, they had. It's really funny.
Oh, good, we're back. I am so glad.
Beep boop and beep beep boop. Names. Beep beep boop and beep 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 boop were. Oh, I lost my train of thought because I thought it was so funny. It's okay. We'll come back. I blew off course. This happens. Of course.
Yeah, it's crazy to listen to this version of Leandra.
She was a little nuts, but she was right.
Especially because, I would get there with you sometimes, and that's why I would be so confused. Our relationship in our adulthood leading up to this
is so important. Yeah, the rubber banding of it all, of
yes.
One day I'd be like this. One day I'd be so excited and I would be telling my best friend something because I was excited to tell my best friend something because I had an idea or some shit, or I liked a person, or it was best friend shit.
A fun thing happened, yeah.
And you and I would talk about it and then we'd be like, hee, and we'd have the nighttime of our lives. And then the fucking next day, they'd be like, you were out with Anastasia again? Somebody must be off the rails. Someone must be out of control. Somebody's hanging out with or how's she doing? Give me all the information on her.
Yeah.
Okay, and this takes me right back to that thought, which was the information, the gathering of information. We talked about it at the beginning with Gary being like, send me your letters. But everyone else was reporting too. And we talked about this with both our guests. This was the crazy thing. You could not trust anybody. Can anybody find me someone to trust? Was fucking the song of our fucking
for real
time there, because everyone was like, they got information out of you in casual conversations because they're not therapists, they can just they can manipulate information. They're not legally obligated to not manipulate information out of people.
Yeah, for real. And
Like,
also they get you drunk and loose, because that's all the times I remember having any
or they
real
take you into their
conversations.
office and make you feel special. Still with
Exactly.
alcohol involved.
Those are the two times, two circumstances that beep 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 boop would ever get me to say anything.
Yeah. 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 And like I was willingly and consistently confessing and outing myself to beep 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 boop.
All the time.
Like
Like you
I
said in the last
trusted
episode,
beep beep
telling on
beep boop.
yourself,
And
self-reporting.
and everyone was reporting
On each
to
other.
Uncle Icky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Everyone was
all
reporting
the way to the top.
all the way to the top. And like, I know, here's like what Mike said about like pastors with autonomy. I know sometimes the information wasn't always all the way to the top, you know, like some people kept it for themselves and started their own kind of little things going on and their own little power trips, and like they were the special ones. And like, good for you guys, I guess. But like at the same time, like you like just karmically yuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the information always getting to Uncle Icky was a problem. And it was also information always getting to the beep boops.
Yep.
And others. And like and like I just remember how often it was like we were talking about me, and then all of a sudden we weren't talking about me, but it was still, I was in the room and in the conversation, but it wasn't about me. I was spilling information about other people because they were asking about things I did with that person or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course they were here at this time. And then it's like, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to say that. Like, none of us knew.
Yeah. And you didn't always know when you were telling on somebody, like in that moment, or even way later, because
by the law of verbal traps, they would be like, hey, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's so fun. I just saw this person last week. Did you see them too? Like, I was hanging out with them. We got coffee. It was really fun. They mentioned you. Oh, yeah, really? I was thinking about them too. Like, oh, really? What's that about? Why were you thinking about them? What was that like? Interesting. What kind of thoughts? Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Like, oh, do you think that that could be something sexual? And it's like, no, what? No. Or do you think that they could have been doing something illicit? And it's like, no. And they would never outright quite say it, but it would always get there.
No, but it was always
like a mining of information, but through casual, fun, charismatic conversation. Because here's the other thing. These motherfuckers, some of them, had charisma. They were funny. They were fun. They would make it seem like a joke. They would laugh. I just think about like beep, 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 boop, holding my head underwater in the pool at Rayan repeatedly until I was like actually struggling, and then like scratching and hurting me and saying, Leandra, stop playing so rough. You're playing too rough. You gotta stop. You gotta cool it down. We were playing pool basketball. Everyone was schmammered. And like, this was a whole thing. And I was like, oh my God, she's right. She's right. I gotta calm down. And then she'd laugh in my face. And I was like, why is she laughing? And then years later, to a room full of people, she was like, hey, Leandra, do you remember? Do you remember that one time when I was like holding your head underwater and like kept telling you that like you needed to play less rough? You were actually kind of drowning. It was so funny. And everyone was laughing a little bit. And I was laughing too, because I was like, yeah, that really hurt. That really hurt. And that really sucked. And my heart still hurts because like I trusted you and I loved you and I thought you were cool. Ow, dude. Ouch. Ouch, kibibbles, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
like, always either up to the top or within people's power trips. And it was always about getting information on us or others. And
because that's how they kept it all going. That's how you keep that's how you keep tabs on people. That's how you make it seem like God told you something. That's how you make it seem like,
God forbid you could like answer their email.
God forbid you could fucking treat someone who's coming to you with a problem with some fucking respect.
Decent, I was gonna say just
and
like
kindness,
base level decency. Yeah.
Like, condescension and smarm does not equal kindness. Like, sorry, you guys were unkind. I know you, like, oh, yeah, you showed up to those hospitals all those times and you did all that shit. And it's like, yeah, you were just shoveling shit like I was so that you wouldn't get shit on.
Yeah.
That was your shit. Those were your shitty duties that you had to do. And we all wanted better duties, but we couldn't have them because Uncle Icky was at the top. And like, Uncle Icky was at the top because Marilyn was at the top. And then like, once Marilyn was gone, the power struggle
Marilyn
between
died.
Uncle Icky and like, yeah, Big Daddy G, Big Gary, big old at the top Gary. And like, I'll say this on the record too. We're naming Gary by first name because A, his name is public record in those lawsuits and it is known and there's nothing in like it is indisputable. And also because he put himself at the top of this organization. He put himself there. He's responsible for his own fucking choices and what he allowed. And he's responsible for his ignorance and his tolerance and his fucking idiocy and his cruelty. And he's responsible for all the fucking money that he let people give him and that he's still letting people give him. And he's responsible for all those things. And like, he wants to be at the top so he can be at the top. And I'm going to call him Gary at the top because he wanted that. And that's what I learned my whole fucking life. And so after listening to that man my whole life, I'm still going to say, yeah, it's Gary.
Heard.
Like,
also, it's not like he's being quiet either. He's still out preaching and he's still out calling us.
Okay.
What is so many things? I don't even remember all the names he called us.
Deadwood? Like, or the, like something like
dead
that.
Weight. Deadwood.
Dead weight, the dead wood. No, like something like the dead wood of like God is like removing the dead wood from the tree so the tree can sprout again. Because like metaphors and like.
Sure.
I was going to say this after listening to the episode or editing the episode with Mike.
Oh, because he's still talking.
He's still talking. He's still talking. And here's what the funniest thing about that is. Like, okay, buddy, I'm going to quote your own fucking message back to you. You told me that the Bible says that repentance, true repentance, means stopping the thing you are having to repent for and turning around and walking the other way and not touching it again. And like, yeah, you were probably bringing those messages about people who were touching fucking children, but you should take your own fucking advice, Gary.
Yeah.
I won't say your middle and last name, but I know them. I did block you, though. Anyway, back to Uncle Icky.
Question 3. Wait, what question are we on?
Yeah, we're still on question 3. We left off on, I just keep showing up and being ignored. And then suddenly, for no reason known to me, until an elder or department head would have to take me aside and ask me what on earth I was doing there. As though I was supposed to know. When I told them I had no idea what they meant, I'd finally be told that, quote, the pastors, and I'd find out later, Uncle Icky directly, did not want me to participate in that department, role, or ministry anymore. I'd make a mistake, or I'd have a lack of control in my spirit and be struggling. But instead of addressing the problem and helping me grow through it, I'd either be silently shunned or intensely chastised, having my passions taken away one by one until I became a directionless zombie who felt like the only input I could ever get from the pastors in general was punitive. Uncle Icky extends trust to those he knows will do things his way, but that appears to be as far as that trust goes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's question 3. These ones we do have the context for.
Okay, great.
So the first one is, demonstrates personal growth and learning. Oh, wow. It is good to laugh. Together. I needed that. Yeah. Oh my God. Dad,
yeah, right after this fourth one, he really changed.
Yeah, he really got it together. Wow, so proud of him for his growth and learning journey. Okay, I responded.
You're like, see above.
It's like, isn't this the same questions? And it is. And here we go. It's different, but yeah. Demonstrates personal growth and learning. As a congregant and employee, Uncle Icky's lack of growth and change over the last 20 years has astounded me. The most growth astounded. I was flabbergasted. The most growth I have seen has been literally in the last 3 months. This was October 1st, 2018 at 2 a.m. was the timestamp on this note.
Okay.
He went from never being around CLW, which was the Church of the Living Word, which was located in the Valley, or TLW, which was located in North Hollywood. He went from never being around CLW or TLW to showing up almost every day and showing a sudden interest in all sorts of things he seemed not to care about previously.
Because he didn't
see the bathroom hole at TLW earlier. And also, like, I remember one of the most fucking annoying things was him being like, why is the front door locked? And it was like, because we've been told to keep it locked for a long time. And he was like, I never said that. And it's like, actually, you did. And you told a lot of people, and they told me. And then you told me, and now you're changing your story. And he was like, no, we got to keep the front door unlocked every day. This is a church. And I was like, since when? Like, we never allow people from the street in here. What are you talking about? There are people with guns on the property who heavily inspect anyone who walks in and then start a conversation and gather information and make sure that this person is, not going to be a problem and find out what's going on in their whole fucking crazy organization. And like,
there was earpieces.
Didn't everyone notice?
Was earpieces.
Yeah, there were like the fucking Secret Service, like, yeah, we got eyes on. And like, fully, it was an insane, like,
so when did you ever once tell me?
When did you ever once tell me that we're allowed to open these doors? Yeah. And like, does anyone remember? Didn't everyone notice how like people who would walk in on a Sunday didn't come back? Like randos who would walk in for church on a Sunday would not come back. And if they did, then like, woof. But like, we had a few, there were a few. I know.
There was like maybe 4 people total that I could remember.
Like over 30 years or some shit.
I was going to say over the time
I never saw the same
there.
people again. Yeah, exactly. I never saw the same people again walking in. No. Except this, I saw I retract that statement. I saw the same people every goddamn day of my goddamn life for a really long time, but not anyone different than those people.
And no one knew. No one knew was,
Uncle Icky. This was him taking the sudden interest in things and being like, we got to keep. And so that meant I had to stay at the desk at all times because the door was open. And so like every day he was just like, how can I make your life worse?
And it's like, we're not in like a safe little.
Oh, fuck no. It was like it was a block from the 405.
Yeah.
Like there, like all that fucking traffic and all that crazy shit and the Anheuser-Busch fucking Bud Light factory right there that I smell I'll smell till the day I die.
Seriously.
It's one of my first fucking memories. Yeah, I smell it right now. Okay, so back on track, everybody. Uncle Icky was being absolutely fucking insufferable. And that was him changing.
And that was his growth.
That was him growing and changing. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, get him, past-Leandra. Okay, he started showing up almost every day, showing a sudden interest in all sorts of things he seemed not to care about previously. I'm sure this was caused by some intense experience or event, because nobody just turns their life around that suddenly. But based on conversations with him in the last few months, I'm not convinced the root problems have been addressed. Just showing up and putting your fingers in every possible pie doesn't mean you're ready to do so. Also, what a metaphor. I could not have chosen a better metaphor. Uncle Icky. Icky.
Oh my God. Wow. Well put.
I am constantly held to a standard I don't understand, while he is allowed to make the same mistakes repeatedly and then return to a place of leadership with no apparent consequences.
Wow.
I said it. I was right.
Letters. Again, like this
Shalom's
is crazy.
letters.
This was all in there.
That's why I was so ready when Shalom's letters came out.
The whole time.
When her letter came out, I was like, this is the sign I've been waiting for that I am allowed to continue life and existing.
Yeah.
This is the that was the sign I was waiting for. And like, again, so if anyone ever questions whether or not they should share their stories, do it. You might save somebody's fucking life. Like, the same mistakes repeatedly and then return to a place of leadership with no apparent consequences. The best way I can think to put it is, if you've been commissioned as a ministry, you can't choose. Oop, we're going to get culty. Trigger warning. If you've been commissioned as a ministry, you can't choose when to pick up the mantle and put it back down again based on how you feel that day. He has caused people to depend on him, has been commissioned to do a million things, but that doesn't mean he can decide when he has the ability to care and when he doesn't. This causes protracted immaturity in both the leadership and the congregation. The biggest indicator of his lack of growth is how he's treated his assistants and wives. Every wife has been an assistant, left for the next assistant. I truly believe his fourth wife has helped him immensely, but there are still behaviors that I've witnessed my whole life that have just gotten worse over time. Such as how he treats women in general and has been set out of the body multiple times to, quote, repent and figure stuff out, unquote, and then set into, all caps, the exact same ministry with more responsibility, and the cycle begins again. I am convinced that there is some, all caps, deep and intense growth and learning he needs to experience before he is allowed to be before he is allowed to be in a place of leadership ever again. For example, how to be a father rather than a project manager or boss.
Oof. You tell him.
I was mad, and I didn't know that I was mad, and I didn't know how to be mad.
This is very pointy, Leandra.
But like, I'd watched him hurt his wife and child.
Dude,
and
I'd
watched him be so cruel and like careless and selfish and rude and mean and vile. And I was like, how is someone allowed to keep doing this? And like, I ask that now hysterically, looking at who's in the presidency of the United States and what is happening in the world at large. And like, that Gary is giving money to Israel is hilarious, because of course he is. And like, and he like, do we see the patterns now yet, guys? No? Okay, I'll keep yelling.
I will keep screaming. Excellent. I was born to do it.
I was born to yell. You always told me I was loud, so here I am. Fuck you. I am loud. Okay. For example, how to be a father.
How to be a father. Fucking drag him.
Boof. Also, like, I didn't know what I was talking about, because, like, my father, no thank you. But, like,
No,
No,
thank
thank
you.
you.
No, thank you.
Okay. Are you ready for the next prompt?
Couldn't be
Acknowledges
more.
mistakes and learns from them. And I was like, I just answered that. I asked and answered, Your Honor.
Exactly. Asked and answered, Your
Asked and
Honor.
answered. Asked and answered. Ugh. Mom and I. Okay. Acknowledges mistakes and learns from them. I have never heard Uncle Icky admit he was wrong. The closest thing I've seen was in a conversation 2 years ago in 2016 when I was airing some very deep grievances with him and his fourth wife. I called his fourth wife out for something. And that was me being like, you said you were going to be there for me. You said you were my sister. You said you could be my Elijah. And then she disappears and like does not answer my emails. And like, sure, I'm like a fucking 12-year-old kid or something, and who fucking cares about me? I didn't know about the Uncle Icky stuff. I just knew that she had promised me that she was going to be there for me, and she left. And I didn't know why. I didn't know it was because the Uncle Icky affair got found out and that Uncle Icky was like, I'm going to conveniently launch you into Kelowna so that my wife doesn't get too upset. Like, this was way before 2008, too. This was like 2005 or 4. Like, I think I was like maybe a teen. Yeah. So, like, yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what I was saying to her. I was like, you said you were going to be there for me and you left. And then you came back out of nowhere and you're my shepherd now. And I have to tell you everything. But, like, how do I know you're not going to leave me again? That was my beef. And that's what I was saying. And I called her out for that, quote unquote. And like, I know she did much worse to so many people, but like, this was just my experience with her. I kind of viewed her as like a big sister kind of thing. And when she went to defend herself, Uncle Icky backed me up and said she needed to listen because I was right. And now knowing why that happened, like why she left, was because he sent her there and he.
Jesus Christ.
Shake it out.
Piece
Shake
of
out
shit.
the memories.
Oh my God.
Bad vibes all around. Sets clear performance expectations in advance. Again, I say, I genuinely never know what is expected of me. I am expected to know things that have never been explained to me as an employee and congregant. Sends candid messages that are focused on the issue and not the person. I'm living for these prompts right now. Like, these prompts are roasting him for me. Like, it's true. Oh, God. Okay. Sends candid messages that are focused on the issue and not the person. In all the correction I've ever received as both an employee and a congregant, the issue has, all caps, always been about me, not the problem itself. And 9 times out of 10, the instructions on what need to be done come from Uncle Icky via my pastors. Mm-hmm. Beep and beepy. Mm-hmm. The beep boops. Beep boops. Every time I've had an issue or made a mistake, the solution has always just been to remove me from the situation completely and force people to ignore me or force me to ignore others, which has literally caused me to think that the problem in every situation is me or another person. This has created a habit of withdrawal and hiding. I have been trained on a Pavlovian level to expect to be kicked out of or separated from the things I love most if I make a mistake. This is what Mike was talking about. Mm-hmm. Like, they found out what you love most.
Trained us. Yeah.
Yeah.
They trained us to expect getting the things we love most taken from us. And that could be anything they let you love at the time.
Yep. Whatever they let you have and hold on to until they found out and then like did something about it. Okay. Sees potential in others and brings out the best in them. Jesus. I'm dying. This is like...
Never once.
Not even a little bit. I've witnessed Uncle Icky perceive the potential and talent in many people.
Ooh.
And I've watched him draw it out and utilize their talents for his projects. However,
Wow.
I have also witnessed him ignore and belittle gifts and talents in people because that person didn't appear to have a, quote, right enough attitude or spirit. There are always the select favorites. Even people who have given their lives to serve are treated as inferior to the special ones Uncle Icky has chosen as his favorite talents.
Wow.
I'm gonna shut my mouth on that right now because there's a lot, like, there's alarms blaring in my head and we just need to use the fire extinguisher and close that door. We're almost through this, you guys. We're almost there. This is also my favorite. And like, this is the longest answer I gave in this set of questions. Not the like big beefy questions up top, but in these prompts. Ensures that people are paid fairly for the work they do.
Oh, go off. Oh, go off.
This one, I say, this is 2018, Leandra. This one is difficult for me to discuss.
Already aces. Oh, boy.
I know for a fact, and just kidding, it's hearsay, that there are employees whose time is exploited. Like, oops. Oops, we were in a cult. Most of us are paid salary, and there is no such thing as overtime at the church or at the Living Word building.
Yep.
There are certain aspects of my job that are apparently required, but are outside of a normal 9-to-5 workday. Most employees are also department heads. So whenever there is a, quote, work night where volunteers would need to be directed, the employees are required to be there and are not paid for it, despite it being related to their job duties and outside of their specified work hours. I am realizing that I am saying a little bit of some dangerous stuff right now, but like, at the same time, they already know that I said this. No, they know that I said this. They got my review. I sent it to them.
And it was sold as volunteering, but it was actually your job.
It was your this is where the ministry thing gets sticky, because this is what I mean when I say they would use your mantle or your ministry to get you doing fucking manual labor or just labor for free.
Yeah.
Like, the ministry and the mantle being what your job roles were very sticky. Like, they were like, there's, and like we said it in our little Instagram post, but like, there's construction ministry and there's like air conditioning ministry and there's like teaching ministry and there's like cleaning ministry. And like, there was this rumor that they'd use to get people to clean. And like, I don't know if it's true. If someone knows, tell me. Marilyn used to clean the bathrooms and toilets with a toothbrush. And it's like, okay, were you on meth? Was it like, were you tweaking?
Did you
was it a
not
nervous
go
breakdown?
To the dollar store and get a brush? A toilet brush even?
Break happening there? Because like, if someone's scrubbing the toilets with a toothbrush of their own volition, something's not right.
And it's like, was it in the name of John? Like, what are you doing that for?
Was it for, like, for who? For what? And again, if this is a rumor that you use to get people to do the most disgusting kinds of manual cleaning and labor and janitorial work, and...
We all clean toilets. I definitely cleaned many toilets in my life.
We cleaned toilets, we cleaned dishes, we cleaned
Public
floors,
toilet.
we cleaned sinks, we cleaned fucking chairs, we cleaned
showers.
pulpits, we cleaned Oh God, don't even.
Sorry.
We would garden, we would fucking pull weeds, we would fucking landscape. I learned so much. I'm pretty handy when I am not having a full-blown when I can function. Thank you very much.
And that's a
Thanks,
promise.
cult. And that's a promise. And you'll get that guarantee from me. So I was upset about not being paid and how, again, we were told that it's our goddamn fucking privilege and ministry and job and life and purpose to do all this work, to work so hard at everything, to just like everything was at the volume was at 11 on everything all the time, on your giving, on your praying, on your seeking, on your repenting, on your dedication, on your commitments, on your work, on your working. Are you coming to work days? Are you paying?
On your back
Are you
end
coming
of
to
your
work
life.
days? Are you paying? Are you coming to work days? Are you paying? That was my life. And I was like, I don't know. Are you fucking paying me? I live here. I can't escape. The only escape I have is a bar.
I live here, work here, and pay rent.
I live here, work here, pay rent here, buy meals here, buy tickets for events I planned. And then went shopping for. And then...
and then did dishes for. And then set
did
up
dishes
and
mopped
down.
for. And then I had to stay awake. And okay, man, we're almost there. There are specific positions, such as maintenance or front desk, that should absolutely be paid on an hourly basis. However, I am genuinely afraid the church would not be able to pay the people who work in those positions if they were to be paid for all of the hours of overtime / double time we work. I work. They are simply told their position is a ministry. And ministries are always on call. So therefore, we're redacting some information here. If a circumstance happens, one at 4 a.m., one of the employees is expected to go deal with it, but not log or be compensated for those extra hours because it's their ministry. Employees can be sent redacted to go do redacted. For redacted amounts of time because they / my / our paycheck is based on a quote ministry, while the rest of the employees are expected to pick up the workload and not complain about it because quote, it's a ministry.
Fucking get them. God damn.
So they gave me the money and then I gave it back. And then they would give me the money back and they're like, you're not doing good with this money that we're giving you. And I'm like, but I'm giving it right back. I don't understand. Literally, okay, maybe $80 a week is going to alcohol. Sorry. And 115 a week is going to food. Sorry. The rest is yours. Is that too much? Is that too much for me to keep for myself? Am I bad with my finances? Beep boops. Sorry, that was personal. That was real personal. But whatever. We're here. We're not pursuing we're not making allegations. We're just experiencing our reminiscing experiences and reading our notes from our existence.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, okay. Okay, guys, a great prompt. Are you ready? Helps people feel that their contributions are valued and appreciated. Did you ever feel appreciated other than in a creepy sexual manner by Uncle Icky? Because I certainly didn't.
No.
I said, this one is tied to the previous prompt regarding compensation. All employees and even volunteers are expected to give literally every bit of their time and abilities towards a cause that may or may not be real to them because, well, it's for the church or it's for a pastor and it's your position and it's a ministry. We're down to our last, the last two, our final two here. ensures there is a clear understanding around the results people are expected to achieve.
See above.
Yes, exactly. As an employee, I have genuinely never understood the full extent of what is expected of me. Every time
This is
Uncle
the third
Icky,
time you said that.
I know. Every time Uncle Icky walks into the building, I am informed of some new thing that I should have been doing since the day I was hired. And when I convey it to my direct bosses, they are often unaware that said action was required in any capacity. However, if Uncle Icky said it, it's officially mandatory all of a sudden. Again, okay, and here we are at the last question, the last prompt, and it is the shortest. It's just one sentence. I was so tired. And
like,
I'm sure you all are now too, from having to hear these things. Welcomes candid feedback from others.
Okay, again, asked and answered. Like, oh my God.
Whether you welcome it or not, you are getting it. Everybody and this person also. Welcomes candid feedback from others. Fucking LOL.
LOL.
Once again, the only input or feedback I have ever witnessed Uncle Icky actually act upon has come from his daughter, Beep Beep Boop, or Marilyn. Everyone else's input seems not to matter. And like...
Round of applause.
Thank you. No, but like everyone else's opinion, everyone else's input seems not to matter. I think it's still the case. That's still true to this day.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Oh, wow. Like, yeah. I don't know, man. I guess.
Oh, dude. Well, that's where you were in 2018.
Yeah, and if anyone wanted to know.
Yeah, and then the letters happened.
And then Shalom's letters came out.
Was immediately confirmed.
I felt so much better. I'm processing all of these things that I just read and said, but like, dude, I described a cult and a cult environment without knowing what a cult or cult environment was.
100%.
I described narcissistic abuse without knowing what narcissistic abuse was or looked like.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then we also, so we contest what you will, audience.
I don't think if they're listening, they're contesting.
I don't think if they're listening, they're contesting, but like, I don't know. I just want to make sure that I leave a little note in case they are.
Heard.
You know? Like,
continue.
I don't know. This is me getting extra pointy. Like, I'm just like, okay, contest what you want. Like, say it didn't happen, or say it doesn't matter, or say that we should move on. And like, this is moving on. You have to look at it to know what you're moving on from. Like, you have to know the problem to address the problem. And if you don't think that that's how problem solving works, I'm so sorry for your life and your choices. I'm so sorry. Because you have to address what happened. And like, if not that much happened to you, okay. If you just like grazed this community, okay. If you were in a position of leadership in this community, okay. You have to look at what happened to you. And if you don't, it's gonna like, also, this is what's insane. Like, some of the things they told us were true. It was just in a weird context, you know? And like, they would always say like, let me just put it in their words. Like, they would put it in the terms of like, if you try to control or suppress your flesh nature, it's just gonna pop out somewhere else.
Ew.
It's like, like Jara said, it's like a balloon. When you squeeze a balloon, if you're like, I'm just gonna like crush it, it like pops up. And like, that's a hilarious thing to be saying. And like, but it's also that the concept of like, science now tells us that like, if you are repressing or not acknowledging big emotions, they show up somewhere in your body. Like Bessel K. Vanderkolk, the OG, tells us that the body keeps the score. The body keeps the score. And like, I don't know, man. Like, how's your drinking problem? How's your anxiety? How do you sleep at night? How is your breathing? How is your eating habits? How are your emotions? Like, are you having outbursts, or are you keeping it all inside? Or are you finding yourself just feeling one thing for a long time? Or are you finding yourself not able to control how much you're feeling at all times? Like, we all bear the marks. We all bear the marks of what we experienced, and the community that this was, and the shape of it, and the what it demanded of us, and what it expected of us. And like, we all carry this, and like, yeah, we are healing. This is healing. It's icky, and it's messy, and it makes me shake and cry, and it makes me feel like I want to puke. And I find out more information about my life and my existence every single goddamn day. And like, like I said it on the Mike episode of like, it's like the X-Files, where you're like, you will not believe why that file was closed. Like, the X-Files is my own memories.
Yeah.
Or by like a family member's memories. Or my best friend's memories, or, you know, or like your own memories, or the person next to you's memories, or your kids' memories. Like, we all carry this. It happened. Whether or not that institution exists as it was, whether or not we are under control of it anymore, that's not what that doesn't matter. You're right. That stuff doesn't matter. But like, what we were forced to become because of these demands, because of what these people expected and then didn't make clear, and then kept punishing us for, and then like, and then would make us feel like it's our fault. Like, I thought I was sick because I was bad.
Yeah.
I thought I was sick because I was bad, and I knew I was bad, and I was like,
okay,
I'm drinking,
walk, talk,
I'm going out.
Battle. It was used in multiple ways, because it was used as like, this was on Oops, I'm in a Cult too.
You'll allow
like,
the battle if you're bad.
It was battle that they couldn't do anything about if they were a pastor, and we all had to pray for them. But if it was us who had a headache or a disease or a fucking whatever, then it was something in our spirit that wasn't right.
Ding, ding,
it was
ding.
us.
It was us.
So of course you felt that way.
And like, anyone who experienced this doctrine got a taste of that.
Yeah.
To some degree. And again, some people got it worse than others. If you happened to be someone who was affluent and you got to show your devotion by sending the church money, then they were likely going to be nicer to you and your family. And I hate that that's a reality, but I experienced
and there were multiple
it.
different, and there were multiple different ways to do that.
Yeah. And like, I'm not saying it was a bad thing that you did. Like, if you gave, like, I gave my money to the church. I gave all my money to the church. I literally have not that much money now, like literally almost no money, because I gave all my money to the church for my whole life. Thoughts, Stasia?
Too many, I think.
Too many thoughts.
Too many, I think.
Because I'm future thinking about, like, it's kind of cool to know that, like, there are people listening, because it's like, I can't wait to know how you felt when did you feel this way too? Who did it to you? Like, and again, like, I'm not just talking about our cult. I'm talking about people in general. Someone like, this could have been about a shitty boss, or and it was about a shitty boss, but it also could have been about a shitty romantic relationship, and it kind of creepily was on his end towards everybody who was female and smaller than him. Like, I don't know, like, I think it's important that we get to acknowledge what was going on in the past for any of us and why we feel this way now. Because like, maybe this is naive of me, but like, I have hope that if people think about and talk about and then face what that like the consequences of their own actions, and I'm including my like, it's not just like the consequences, because like that's very punitive and like I say that word and it's a bad word in my head, but also like we're gonna have a whole episode on this actually, like the term consequences, because like I am witnessing the people who enforce consequences and taught me that consequences would always be enforced and I would never be safe and that they would always know what I did. I'm watching these people experience no consequences.
Yeah.
Like, not a one that matters in the grand scheme of things. And I'm not the person to determine what these consequences are or should be. Like, I don't fucking know. I'm just a dumb idiot who's here, like, trying to just make sense.
Him and we don't know, but
maybe they're gonna. But like, again, like that's where like, yeah, like I don't know. I don't have the certainty of my faith that I had before, where I got to be like, yeah, God'll judge him. Like, because that's what we thought about the people that we didn't agree with. So, and like, I'm like, you know, like I joked about it on the last episode with Mike of like, it'd be great if God existed and like the rock could fall on them. Like, that'd be so cool. Like, if those scriptures were real, like, I love that. And like, if that turns out to be real someday, like, sick. Cool. I still have a lot of questions, but like, I just get to know that like the only certainty I have in my inner self and in my like butthole, like I know that I would not want to be them in a million fucking eternities. I would never want to choose what they chose. I would never want to react to these people, to anybody, how they reacted. I would never want to take responsibility for my choices the way they took responsibility for their choices. I would be ashamed to be myself if I made those choices. And I didn't, so I'm not. And the things I am ashamed about, I'm talking about it. And I'm telling you here. And I was indoctrinated. And I am aware of that. And I made harmful choices for myself and others because of what my church and faith and doctrine and upbringing taught me. And like, there was all of this other stuff that said like, love thy neighbor and like, do this stuff. And like, I thought that's what we were doing. I thought that that's what it was. I thought we were all supposed to help each other. And like, they're like, the vision of the kingdom was this thing that they sold that a lot of people bought into. Cause like my family, like my mom even says, she's like, we thought it was the kingdom. We thought we were doing the thing that God was doing, that God wanted us to do. And it's like, okay, they sold a vision to people. They were like, you can contribute to the exclusive, cool thing that God's doing on earth. Yeah. The price is
your
time,
soul,
your energy, your kids, your money, your fucking families, your spouses, life. Your every fucking breath eventually
every decision
becomes wrapped up somehow in this system if you let it. If you let it. And I did, and we did, because that's what we knew. And a lot of people, like, this is what's sticky and icky about cults, is like, oh, it makes you feel so good when it's good. It's a thing that you like, it's that thing that everyone's always looking for. It's that thing. I don't know what that thing is. Like,
community.
I don't know. It's like connection, community, kindness, acceptance. Yeah, all those things that
love,
you find,
even though it was not love many times, but love.
Because it's okay. So like the first thing I did getting out of the cult was I went to another church. I was going to the bar, but I went to a couple other churches, and I was like, "What is this?" And I like there was like, it was a whole thing. I went to that church in Hollywood.
Which, like, why?
Because someone I trusted said it was a safe space, and maybe it was, and maybe it is. And like other people in the church also mentioned like they would go there as well. And then like I remember there was this whole big project where the higher ups were trying to imitate how inviting that whole like annex and like the intake space of that church was. And like they were trying to spruce up the foyer and make it inviting and like have cute girls there in handing out coffee and like the thing. And like to me, whatever. Like I see a lot of echoes of like now I know all the scandals and I know all the things about like the freaking all the other churches and the mega churches and like the stuff. But like I know now like those are just like those are the cool churches, you know, like but I would go to other churches cuz I was like seeking the thing. I'm like, can I find a new home somewhere? Is it still in LA? That's why I went to Hollywood, because Hollywood was like the place where like our church was like, Hollywood is bad, except for when Uncle Icky says so. Hollywood is bad, except for how much Uncle Icky loves it. And I didn't understand that. And now I really, really do. Watch Quiet on the Set on HBO, everyone. That was a lot of what it felt like to be us. And like the studio of it all. But yeah, like anyway, like I went to another church because I was seeking that community, because what do churches attract? Like broken people, healing people, people seeking kindness, people seeking connection, that whole community. And those environments also draw predators because they know broken people go there. Sad people, hurt people, healing people go there. And like, who's the easiest people to manipulate?
We talked about it on our last episode too, of the vulnerable people that end up falling for that shit. Like
all of us.
We did.
Like we did over and over and over. And like, it's not like you did something bad by believing what you believed.
No,
or currently still believe there. That's not a bad thing. What's bad is like, it's
how they used
system.
That.
It was a system that is part of a bigger system that is very, 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 very effective in causing harm to anyone who doesn't fall in line.
Yep.
That's how
even the people who do.
And like, of course you get like, you're going to find like there are, I'm sure, healthy church communities. Like Caleb LaPlante said he and his family have found on I don't remember if it was Oops. I think it was Oops, right?
I think so.
Sorry guys. But like Caleb LaPlante talked about, he's like, my family has found a healthy church environment. And we found a place that like we know is safe, because the first thing he asked the pastor was, what is your policy on people who abuse other people? What is your policy for pastors and people in leadership who are caught doing things?
What are your safeguards for that?
What are, like, I hear a lot of Christian, like people who have remained Christians, but have been abused by the church and are calling out the churches and are calling out the systems and are calling out the abusers and are calling out the lack of resources and support for and belief that is afforded to victims of abuse by these systems. And like, think about the kind of money and power being wielded by a church. And I mean the kind of power that's like, okay, God, full stop, is supposed to be here. You're supposed to find God here in this specific building, and the people talking from the platform are God's special messengers, whether that's true or not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but like that's what people go there believing. So like already that kind of responsibility should not be like, you don't just like casually, but like give someone that kind of power. But we do it every day.
We talked about it. What are the qualifications? And I think that's also what Caleb asked, of like, what process do you go through of training to be ahead of this community?
Are you trained in trauma-informed responses, in nonviolent communication? Are you trained to deal with crises? Are you trained to help people in states of immense emotional distress? Oh, you are? From where? Oh, a seminary? Oh, the Bible? Oh, another pastor? Oh, your mentor? Oh, somebody who taught you how their daddy did it in the church, or how their mommy did it in the church, or how their favorite person did it in the church. Like, okay, everyone gets inspired by somebody. Fine. Call yourself a public speaker. Call yourself inspirational. Call yourself an entertainer, but don't call yourself a messenger from God. Don't call yourself a pastor if you're not fucking trained to deal with actual people's lives, actual people's problems, actual people's, like, if you're not actually credentialed and qualified to be doing that, then step the fuck off or call yourself something else.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like pastors are given so, and I say that as an ordained minister, for free on the internet for 2 seconds. You can pay $20 and get an honorary PhD from a church. That's how not qualified you get to be in this sphere, in this world, in these places. And like, that's dangerous. And I'm whistleblowing here on religion in general. Like, I'm sure lots of people have been doing that forever, but like, guys, what? What? Like, power is a thing and people seek it. And then when they get a taste of it, like, I am acknowledging that we have 100 followers right now. And I am over the moon about that fact.
Me too. That's like,
and like, so I get
thought
why
we were going to be speaking, yelling into the void.
I know, me too. I was like, it's going to be 6 people. It's going to be 6 people. It's going to, and 2 of them are my mom. Like,
and the other 2 are, well, the other 4 are me and you and
me,
our other accounts.
Oh God. Yeah. But I also recognize that, like, okay, people are listening to us.
Yeah. That comes with responsibility.
I have to be aware that I'm speaking to an audience. I can't just say I know everything. I can't just say that someone told me, God told me, now I'm qualified. Like, no, I acknowledge I'm just a dumb bitch who's here to try and help you all have some laughs and cries about your feelings like I have to, because that's literally all I can do. And so may as well have other people get entertained by it as well, you know, and like, or maybe cry with me and like, it'll be great, or cackle or be manic with me. I don't know, you know, like we're all just, it's a lot of feelings. And I just, I really want to be like aware and call attention to the kinds of power structures where, when allowed to get as big and as fiscally and like congregationally big as they can get, like, dude, consent gets taken out of the equation when big amounts of power like that are being wielded.
Yeah.
Like, I read you all of this review, and the thing I wasn't saying here was that I have no idea what consent is. I've never had the privilege to understand how that term plays out in real life. And everything that is happening to me is without my consent, because I've been being fed alcohol since I was a child and kept in the presence of proven and known pedophiles. Yeah. Like, okay, so where is consent in that equation? Where did I get to not believe this stuff or listen to these people or do what they said? You know? And that's not a unique situation at all. That's not a unique situation at all.
A big part of the equation that we haven't really explored yet.
Consent is a huge, like, I say it at the head of every single goddamn episode.
I know.
Because consent matters. That's the first thing I want everyone hearing, including myself, because I didn't know what it fucking was for so long.
Yeah.
I didn't. I
Agreed.
couldn't. So now I do, and I make sure everyone I fucking speak to or at knows about it too.
Yeah.
Because consent matters. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to do what I'm saying. You don't have to believe me. Consent matters. You know? Like, nobody has to anything.
Yeah.
And if no one's ever told you that before, I'm so sorry. No one told me either.
Yeah.
And if you've never thought about the concept of consent and the role it plays in your life, that's going to be a big one. And come chat with us. We're all crying about it too. Yeah.
And learn about it whoever you are, whether you think you need to or not.
Whether you think you need it or not, because like it might play a role in your kids'
Because if you think
lives.
you don't need to, you probably do.
If you're a parent, learn about consent for your child's sake.
Yeah.
Learn about consent. Learn about nonviolent communication. Learn about emotional regulation.
Yeah.
If these are new terms, learn about trauma responses.
For real.
It's wild. You will feel like you're not crazy for the first time in your goddamn life. It's going to be great. I promise you. It's a big relief. But then it's also like, ooh, a lot needs to change in my life.
Yeah.
Everything changes. And it's like, okay, yes, I also fear change. I too fear change.
That is a biological response.
Yeah, that's okay. And like, but it is inevitable. It is imminent. It is constant. It is everywhere. It is maybe God, maybe magic. I don't know. But it's change and it happens. And like, the faster we accept the hard truths that will require change, the easier life kind of gets. At least from my personal experience, you don't have to believe me or care about that or think about that at all. I'm just saying it because this is our podcast. And I get to rant at you. Listener, thank you, by the way. Appreciated.
We treasure your attention.
We treasure your attention. Oh, we should let you go. We should let our listeners go.
Oh, that's true. It has been a long recording. Well, so to wrap up, I think we should say we kind of want, because we didn't say this at the top, but we wanted to give some context for where we were when it all happened.
Well, as it was going down, the ship was
sinking. And so next time I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit where I was at. I had no idea about the 360 letters until Leandra was writing hers or told me she had to write one or something. And so I wasn't asked. Which is fine.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But also, you were very lucky you didn't have to answer these questions.
I was in a very different sticky situation. But
icky,
so we kind of
icky.
Just icky.
Sorry, keep going. I'm loving your teasing. Like, keep teasing your episode. I'm like, wait, no, save it for the episode.
But yeah, so hopefully we can give you guys some context to just about where we were at the time, because I know we have had some guests and maybe not been able to give the best context of timelines and stuff. We kind of just launched into it, which I love. I'm so glad we did. But I want to make sure we're painting a picture and not excluding anybody, because I want to make sure people know what's happening with all, because we get into a little bit of like a cult lingo, I think, also, where that's why we're doing the walk talk TM. But
the reference library.
Yeah,
posts.
The reference library. Oh my God.
It's funny because for people who don't know, the reference library was how all of the sermons were cataloged. And you would check the reference library to see what the title of a message was, the date of the message, who brought the message, where the message was recorded what Marilyn thought of the message through a star system, a system of stars that they explain on Oops, I'm in a Cult. Like, it was cuckoo crazy. So the reference library did provide a lot of context, and now we're going to make it a little silly and provide some context of our own. Yeah, exactly.
So that's
stay
our
tuned,
show, folks. Thanks.
Come
for
listen to
listening.
Stasia's episode next time, and yeah, get ready for some more kooky stuff.
Always, yeah.
God, this is like trying to end a phone call.
Kooky.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today, and thank you for supporting Happy to Disappoint. Check out our Instagram and Blue Sky @DisappointCast and our website, happytodisappoint.com.
Thank you, and we treasure your attention.